Hello everybody, it's been a while since I've put out a video, but today I want to talk about becoming really good label readers. It's important for many reasons why we should become really good label readers. Now of course our first label reading experience when we get into the store is seeing all the fronts of the labels. This is what's going to attract your attention, right? So I've just got some banana nut Cheerios here. And as you can see, there's a lot of information on the front of a box. And these things are on there to, of course, catch your attention. Gives you some basic information. You get the weight down here. Of course, we know what it is. This is a special limited edition. Tells you that it's naturally flavored with other natural flavors. And, you've got the gluten-free over here. So it tells you a bunch of stuff that's designed to get your attention. What's it say down here? 110 calories per serving, 0 grams of fat, 120 sodium, 8 grams of sugar. So you can get a lot of information off of a front of a box. But it's also designed to sometimes give you a false sense of security. So let's go and look at the side of your box for your labels. Or sometimes maybe, if it's a jar, you can see here I've got a jar of tomato pasta sauce, and so you might be looking at the side. I've got a lot of glare here, so we're going to look at one that I have printed off so that we can see this a little better. So your standard label is going to contain all of the information that you see here. You're going to get a general description up here of your serving size, how many servings are in the product total, whatever the box, the jar, whatever it is. And then you're generally going to have calories, followed by the fat content, which might be split up into different things like saturated fat and trans fats. I would suggest never eating anything with trans fats in it. And it's going to come down here to cholesterol level, sodium level, carbohydrates are on there. And then you'll have a breakdown underneath the carbohydrates of dietary fiber, sugars, and sometimes you will also see where this is. I like this because I want to know if it's natural to the product or if the sugar has been added. So in this case it says it includes 0 added sugars. Okay, so we know that even though this looks high in sugar, 26 grams, it's all natural sugar. And then there's some other fiber and a couple other carbohydrates. So total, we get this 32 grams, right? And we learn how to read these things based on our personal needs usually and what matters to us. Now down here, this is generally where you'll find your vitamin contents. And then there's always this little disclaimer here. It says the percent daily value tells you how much a nutrient in a serving of food contributes to a daily diet. This is based on a 2,000 calorie diet per day, okay? So this is very general. It is only specific. So if you're eating 2,000 calories a day, then this product will give you 12% of your carbohydrates. It will give you 7% of your fiber, and it will give you 2% of your calcium, 4% of your iron, and 6% of your potassium. Generally what you'll see here on your vitamins and minerals is the ones that are probably more prevalent in the product. It's impossible to find something that shows you everything. There's just way too many things that would be listed. But now keeping this in mind, this seems like a pretty good layout, right? It'll tell you, if you're concerned about how much fat you're consuming, it'll tell you, okay, yep, there's this much fat. If you're concerned about your cholesterol, your sodium, okay, good. It tells you these things. Now, in this case, all I can see down here is the one ingredient. If there was a lot more ingredients in this, I would need to look at the ingredient list. So even though this tells me a lot of information, this is not everything I need to know. This could tell me that something is low fat, for example, if I'm looking for low fat, however, it might be loaded with lots of different forms of sugar. And we'll do a video on that eventually as well, about the different forms of sugar. But for now, we're just going to focus on learning to read our labels. So this is just where you start. Like I say, you see the front of the package. Okay, it gives you some information. But now you need to turn it around and check all of these things and see, okay, does this fit into my dietary needs? If this fits into your dietary needs, you also need to check the ingredients. Now, in this case, we have one ingredient, California raisins. But now, if I would grab something like, we're going to look at a couple different things here. These two items look kind of similar when you look at the fronts. This is just tuna fish in water. This is a can of chicken, also in water. So if I just look at the fronts, I think tuna, chicken. If I turn this product around now, I can see that in the can of tuna fish, the ingredients list chunk light tuna, water, vegetable broth. This vegetable broth contains soy and salt. This is important because if you have food sensitivities or allergies, that original label that I showed you is not going to help you. You want to know exactly what's in that can, box, whatever it may be. Now, if I look at the chicken actually has chicken breast meat, water, seasoning, which contains salt, modified food starch, sodium phosphates, chicken broth, and natural flavors. Not a lot of ingredients, but it still tells you more things that are being used as potential preservatives than what was in the other can. So you see how you can't assume that just because these two products look alike, that they are, more or less the same thing. And you can't just assume this is chicken in water, this is tuna in water. There's a lot more ingredients. If you are a person that had a soy allergy, then you would potentially not be able to eat this. There's soy in the broth. If you are watching some of these other additives and preservatives, and by the way, natural flavors was listed on the chicken. It says natural flavors, but truth be told, if you are highly sensitive to any kind of ingredient, natural flavors does not tell you exactly what that is. You can't assume it's one thing. It could be any number of things that could get thrown in there, and it's pretty much a proprietary ingredient. They won't, they're not going to tell you exactly what it is. So these are some of the reasons why we want to be sure that what we're looking at on this label lines up with what we're looking at on the back of your label. So these are a little difficult to see, like I said, but I'm going to read this one to you. So this one on the front, we can see that it is organic tomato and basil pasta sauce. And the front of this one doesn't give me quite as much information as the other label did, but it does still tell me this is 24 ounces and it is USDA organic certified. All right, so now if I come to the back and read this label, it tells me that it contains organic tomatoes, water, organic tomato paste, organic canola oil, sea salt, organic fresh garlic, organic dehydrated onion, organic dehydrated basil, organic black pepper, organic oregano, citric acid, and calcium chloride. So you can see that these are pretty straightforward ingredients. And now I know that they did not add extra sugar to this. I know that that any allergens that I was looking for probably are not there. So this is why we learn to read labels. We learn to make sure that there's exactly what we want and nothing that we don't want. So I hope this has been helpful. I know that wasn't real, in depth. I'm sure there's a lot more that we could talk about, and maybe that'll come on a future video. But for now, I want everybody to learn to turn this label around and look at the back of your product and read everything that's in it, especially if you have any kind of allergies or food sensitivities, and make sure everything fits into your needs and your diet lifestyle. I'm on a health journey here, and I'd like to take as many of you with me as possible. Thank you for joining me.